Hello everyone, welcome to Australia, welcome to Australian Book Travels, and welcome to this week's recommendations and chat. I am recording this on Sunday, which I think is the 26th of January. You will see this tomorrow on Monday. I have decided, as I've explained in previous videos, I have decided to try and record the book recommendations on a Sunday. It just makes it a little easier for me. But today is a particularly good reason because tomorrow is going to be 40 degrees. So I thought it was best just so that I'm not melting in front of you. I would try and video today. It is still warm today. It's cloudy, but it is rather warm, but at least it's not 40 degrees. I also have my Moroccan mint tea. As most of you will know, if you've been watching the channel for a little while, I do enjoy my Moroccan mint tea. It is from GEWURZHAUS, which is a spice and herb and tea company in Melbourne. They have a few shops around, and they are online. And in actual fact, I may even put their contact details in the description box below, because they have some lovely, I always buy my herbs and spices and my herbal teas from them. And also my chocolate, my hot chocolates. They're absolutely beautiful. Anyway, I have that. I'm all ready. You can have this herbal mint, this mint tea with either hot or cold. Sometimes in summer, I have it cold and I put it on ice, which is lovely. But today I'm having it hot. Well, it started off hot. It won't be hot by the time I get to drink it. Okay, let's start. We have quite a few today, and I want to remind you of a few things. So, Dari Fraser, Australian author. I've told you before about her, The Milliner of Bendigo. I recommended that quite some months ago. The Night on the Darling River, I was given this copy to read and recommend as I deemed it to be. I absolutely loved it. It was fantastic, but this is due out, I think it was due out this week or next. So I just wanted to remind you all, it is worth reading. It is brilliant, a little bit of a love story. It's Australia, set in Australia, set here actually in Victoria and on the Darling River. Sorry, here in Australia. It's absolutely beautiful. I recommend it. I also recommend her previous novel, The Milliner of Bendigo. I really love this, and this is the novel where I became interested in Dari Fraser. She definitely hooked me in with this one, and this was no disappointment. This was absolutely wonderful. So this is out either this week or next. Get yourself a copy. It's lovely. A really cozy read. Cozy but interesting, informative, historical, brilliant, or has historical content. So I just wanted to remind you about that. Now, I do have to apologise. I'm sitting with the windows open so that I have a little bit of a breeze, and I actually have the ceiling fan on, but you'll be able to hear the birds in the background. So they may get a little bit louder as I chat on, so I do apologise. Okay, this next one is really interesting. Okay, so I worked in the same organisation as this author. His name is Stephen McGrath. I worked in the same organisation. I didn't work with him and I didn't socialise with him. So I knew of him, but we didn't really have much to do with each other. We knew each other, but not socially, and our work didn't require us to work together. Recently, through a mutual friend who also I did work with in the same organisation, she suggested that I contact, or that Stephen contacted me because he has written a novel. Now, Stephen is a New Zealander, but he came to Australia quite a few years ago. I think maybe 27, 30 years, it wouldn't be quite 30, I think, when I began working with, or in the same organisation. I think he'd only been in Australia for a little while. So it may be 25 or 27 years, something like that. So he's an Australian New Zealander, or New Zealand Australian. This is his first novel, as far as I'm aware. It is his first novel. I through this mutual friend, Stephen and I contacted each other, and he subsequently sent me his novel. It was written in 2023, but I was interested to read it and to read his novel. I didn't know what it was about, but I was interested to read his novel and recommend it. And I said that I would do that for him on the channel. Now, when Stephen very kindly sent it to me, when I looked at the title, I was a bit concerned because I thought, this is not something I'm particularly interested in. However, it will take me out of my comfort zone, and I'm interested to read it because he is someone I've known from my past, and I it's his first novel. So I think it is his debut novel, but this is Jimmy Sharman's Boxes by Stephen McGrath. I hope you can all see that. It's a really nice cover. Paperback, 2023. Let me get my goggles on, everyone. This is published by Big Sky Publishing, and I'm fairly sure it was 2023. Let me just double check. First published 2023 by Big Sky Publishing, correct. And it is, with all of the notes and references and things, it is, what's the last page? It is, and about the author, it is 453 pages, but the actual story, we've got the epilogue there, the actual story is 424. Now, this is not a novel I would ordinarily read, but I thought it was interesting anyway because, as I say, it takes me outside my comfort zone and it takes us into a new dimension. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I took the plunge because even though this is about a troop of boxers around the First World War, before and during and after the First World War here in Australia, it's a lot more than that, and it's a really interesting style of writing. Even though it is 424 pages, I really thought I was going to be in for a rather dry read, but the way Stephen McGrath has written this, and I don't know, I'm going to ask Stephen, I don't know whether it's deliberate or whether it is just his style of writing, but it's a more sort of, very loosely non-narrative and what we call beige prose, which is to say that it doesn't have any flowery or overly descriptive content or words. Which works beautifully for this novel. It doesn't work ordinarily. It's not, beige prose doesn't work for many novels. And as I say, I don't know whether Stephen has deliberately written it this way because of the content, so that it appeals to a wider audience, or whether it's just the way he writes. Either way, it's a jolly good job. It's a really interesting read. This takes us around Australia. It takes us to country towns that we have been to on this channel. Castlemaine. Let me see. He has a list, or not a list, but almost like sub chapters that gives us the names of some of the towns. I can't find it here, but Castlemaine, Bathurst, Singleton, here we go. Maitland, we haven't been to yet. But yeah, so there's a whole sort of subtitle, sub-chapters in here of the towns that the boxing troupe visits. This is extremely interesting. Stephen gives us, without all that flowery content, and in some ways it's a little poetic, the way it's been written. It's very interesting syntax and prose. It's in some ways, it can be one sentence of a paragraph. But it says so much, he doesn't have to say anymore. And the way he's written it really does appeal to those of us who are not necessarily interested in boxing, but who are interested in history, Australian country towns, and things that were going on at the time. For instance, the First World War. It has also connections to and reference to Indigenous boxes and Chinese boxes at the time that were with the troop and that fought the troop. This is extremely interesting. I don't want to say any more than that. I think this is worth a read by anyone. Look, if I can read it and enjoy it and find it extremely interesting, then anybody can, because I am the least or the last person interested in boxing. In fact, I don't really have, apart from I used to be a dressage rider, and I rode for one season for Tasmania in dressage competition. I competed all the time in Tasmania and here in Victoria. That is really the only sort of sport competition that I enjoy. Sometimes a little bit of cricket, but apart from that, I am not a sporting person. I'm really not interested, but I'd rather do it than read it or watch it. But this was really interesting. It has so much more. Don't be put off by the cover. I think the cover in a way lets it down because, or the title, because it's so much more than that. And it really deserves a wider audience than just people interested in Australian boxing, a boxing troupe. I would recommend this to all of you. I think it's really interesting. You will find more about Australia and Australian towns and what they were like in the first part of the 20th century. I recommend this. It's available, I would suggest, from your independent bookshops, online. Perhaps I will, when I contact Stephen again, I know Stephen, we emailed, and he was going away for a short time, and I have been busy and I have been away as well, so I haven't had more recent contact with him. But when I do contact him, I will find out whether he sells the books to you directly. But look, any independent bookshop will be more than happy to order this in for you. It is good. It's really good. Yeah, and as I say, some of it's a little poetic. It also takes, I think, from memory. I did read it this week, and I was really interested in it, and it really did grab me. It grabbed my interest. But I think it takes you to, from memory, it takes you to, Campbelltown, Wellington, Dubbo, so all of those, New South Wales, all around Australia. It's absolutely brilliant, and I think you should read it. It's not a love story, but it does have that historical content, which I enjoy, the historical content on the towns. As I say, it is almost, on some occasions, it's almost poetry. The way it's been written, and sometimes it's just single word, single line, a single sentence. It's incredible. So yeah, look, I really enjoyed it, and I think it would be worth anybody reading this, worth a read. So that is Jimmy Sharman's Boxes. Stephen McGrath. Thank you, Drina, my friend Drina, for introducing me back to Stephen so that I could read this and recommend it. And I recommend it. So that's that. Now, this week, more books. A few months ago, I recommended Mary Lou Stevens' The Chocolate Factory to you. This was about Cadbury's chocolate factory in Tasmania. It had historical content, but was really a fictional story, a bit of a love story, but also a bit of cloak and dagger, a bit of shenanigans going on, and gave you an insight into some towns around Hobart where the chocolate factory is, and it still is today. I loved it. I really loved it. And I contacted Mary Lou Stevens, and she told me at the time that she was having another novel come out this year called The Jam Maker. And she very kindly organised for me to have a copy. Now, I think this comes out in February, so it's not out yet quite. I'm fairly sure it's February. I will give you the details in either the subtitle or the description box below, but I'm fairly sure it's early February. This is, the Jam Maker, Mary Lou Stevens. This is HQ Fiction, and this year, 2025, and we have, not including acknowledgements, not including author's notes, it is 408 pages. This is about the jam making industry, and particularly the IXL, which is a famous jam making company here in Australia, that was based in Tasmania and began in Tasmania. In the 1800s, Tasmania was renowned, and even in the 20th century, Tasmania up until, gosh, I'd probably say the 80s perhaps, 80s or 90s, when they started ripping out their apple orchards and things like that. But Tasmania before then was renowned for all of its fruit growing. It has that wonderful climate to grow cherries and apples and berries and all sorts. So it has that sort of more English, or it did have that more English climate. So there were a lot of jam factories that began, backyard jam factories and larger ones like IXL and a number of others. Now, this has historical content, but it is also a fictional story woven into the historical facts. I actually cried at the end of this. I know I shouldn't, I know that's not, I shouldn't maybe admit that, but I did, I cried. It was absolutely beautiful. Now, for those of you, by the way, it is a story about enduring friendship and love lost and love gained. Romance. It is about family and family connection and who family really are. Not necessarily blood, but really good friends who stay with you through thick and thin. It is about wealth and the poor. It's about Tasmania and its history. I absolutely loved it. Now, one thing I will warn you about, it wasn't a problem for me, although at first it did shock me, but I realised it was in the context of the era, which it's set in the 1800s, 1851 or 1849, I think. Hang on, maybe I'm wrong. Hang on. I've been reading. No. It begins in 1874 and goes to 1911. It's after the First World War, I think, from memory. But anyway, it spans across a generation and moves into a second generation. Absolutely beautiful. You need to read it. But as I was about to say, there is a little bit of a warning. There are some descriptions and some descriptions from the 1800s that describe an intimate relationship between a husband and wife, or a man and a woman. And at first I balked at it and thought, oh my goodness, but that's me. I'm not a prude, but when I'm reading, there are some things that do shock me. Depending on how it's set, I don't read novels that have a lot of sexual content, put it that way. But this, I just need to warn you that there is a bit of very direct content on, although it's 1800 styling, on the intimacy between husband and wife, or man and a woman. I just need to let you know that in case that isn't your style, but I can assure you that it is very much in context. And in fact, it was only for a couple of instances, it was very much in context, and I think it's a matter of get over it. we move on because it happens. It did happen. It does happen, and it help make the story. It helped me understand more of our protagonist. It is about two, a young girl and a young boy who have this enduring friendship. I won't say any more than that. It is about the orchard industry, the jam industry, Tasmania. And as I say, it did make me cry at the end. I was absolutely, it stopped my heart. It was beautiful. I loved it. And in fact, as the story went on, I loved it more and more. I took a little bit, perhaps, I don't know why, it may have been me, but I took a little bit to get into it. I enjoyed it. I loved it from the first page, but it just took me, in comparison to the rest of the novel, it just took me a little bit to get warm to it all and see where this was going. But honestly, it didn't take me that long to absolutely embrace these characters and love these characters. And as I say, I cried at the end. It was beautiful, and I recommend it. Get yourself a copy. Absolutely beautiful. That is Mary Lou Stevens, The Jam Maker, and I think it's out at the beginning of February, but I will definitely let you know in the subtitles or the description box below. And our last one for today, a very, very well-known author. She is English-born but Australian, and that is Fiona McIntosh, and this is The Fallen Woman. I have just finished this. The cover is stunning, and the covers on all of these are absolutely beautiful. Really, they are. They're just gorgeous. Even this one. They're just, I don't know. I love a good cover on a book. I'm taken in by the cover. And like when you look at, just getting back to Mary Lou Stevens, when you look at The Chocolate Factory, and then the next novel, The Jam Maker, I mean, they're just beautiful. They're really, really beautiful, beautiful covers. And there is another one, The Last of the Apple Blossom, which was not her first novel, I think, but the first in this Tasmanian set of novels. But I don't have that with me. But they're just beautiful. So I go back to Fiona McIntosh, The Fallen Woman. Absolutely beautiful cover. Now this is by Penguin. It's 2025. Let me just double check, make sure I'm right. Actually it was 2024. So I wasn't right, was I? 2024. I picked it up this year, just the other week. Fiona McIntosh has written so many. She's written The Perfumer's Secret, which is another favourite novel of mine. I absolutely love it. The Lavender Keeper, The French Promise, Nightingale, The Tailor's Girl, The Tea Gardens, which I have, The Pearl Thief, The Diamond Hunter, The Sugar Palace, The Orphans, The Spy's Wife, The Champagne War, The Chocolate Tin, which I also have, Nightingale, I think I said, Fields of Gold. She's a beautiful writer. She also writes a murder mystery series or a detective series, I think, from memory. But I haven't read any of her other novels in the detective series. Perhaps we can get onto that now that I am more and more in love with Fiona McIntosh's writing. This is beautifully written. Absolutely beautiful. It is set in, once again, in England. Even though she's an Australian author, English Australian author, it is set in England. And actually, I just have to show you the inside cover. It's absolutely beautiful. I'll just quickly tell you. This has acknowledgements, epilogue. It is 423 pages, and then there's acknowledgements, and there's also, strangely enough, Riverton Orchard Apple Jelly, which this novel is about. I won't go into detail, you know I don't like that. I want you to discover these novels for yourself, but it is a story about really deception and a little bit of a love story about backstabbing within family, again, about money and about how rich you are in your person, not in your purse. So, and how much happier you can be as an individual, as a person, and integrity, your own integrity, and how that means a lot more, and how that helps you shine through, whether you're considered physically attractive or not, but that your honesty and your integrity and your love of life and your love of the world, how that can shine through much more than superficial looks. It's also about family really doing the dirty on other members of the family. I won't say any more. It's also about, now strange enough, most of these books I read, thankfully, are about food. This is also threaded through this is a story about heritage apples in England, or across the world really. It's about art. One of our main protagonists is an artist, a botanical artist. It is absolutely beautiful. It's about love. It's about, hate. It's about nastiness. It's about deception and conniving and then the opposite of that, and good and evil and love, as I say, romance, apples, cooking. It's just beautiful. I love it. I'm in love with her writing. There is a feeling of beauty, and this is set. It begins in 1902. Yes, it begins in 1902, and we finish in about 1911 in England. So it has that, she sets the atmosphere really well for that era. And she gives us descriptions, Fiona gives us descriptions on clothing and the natural environment in England at that time. It's absolutely beautiful. I loved it. This is The Fallen Woman by Fiona McIntosh. Again, do yourself a favour. There is so much more to this story. It's absolutely beautiful. I genuinely could not put this down. I was reading well into the night, hence the bags under my eyes. Reading well into the night with this, I just loved it. I couldn't stop. I love the characters. I dislike the characters. I love them. I embraced them. They were just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. This is The Fallen Woman, Fiona McIntosh. Do yourself a favour. We will recommend or review a number of her other books if you haven't read them, but we will anyway, because I do like her style of writing. But this is absolutely beautiful, and it's the more recent of her novels. 2024. I actually thought, now? Oh, okay, so it must have been late 2024, because we're only in January, aren't we, of 2025. So this is 2024. Absolutely loved it. Now, the last thing I want to say about books, may not be the last thing, but I told you a few weeks ago that I had ordered a second copy of this accidentally. This is The Crewe Train by Rose McCauley, and I was given a bookmark by Tea Leaves and Reads. I was given many bookmarks actually, but I was given 2 of these particular ones, so I didn't want to be greedy and keep them. There was no need to do that. They're absolutely beautiful. This is a really good book and really interesting. I recommend it. And this is a second copy that I want to give away to one of you. I will pay post wherever you are in the world. I will pay post. But what I ask of you is this: to enter the competition, I say competition, but to enter, what I need you to do is share the channel with anyone and everyone you can. We are, look, as I say all the time, we are trying to boost our numbers and our viewing, the people who are viewing this channel, so that we can promote Australia, promote Australian authors, Australian publishing houses. This is why we give you 2 videos a week, one book recommendation and the travel videos, because we want to really appeal to a lot of people so that the channel is more successful, and then we can promote Australia much more. So what I would love you to do, please, is try and share the channel with as many people as you can. And once you've done that, and like and comment and do all that, and the person, I will then ask you to email me at ostbooktravels@yahoo.com. I will give that in the description box below or in the subtitles. That's ostbooktravels@yahoo.com, and let me know that you have done that. And once you have done that, I will put your name in a hat. I will also check whether it's been shared. Also, the more you comment, the more times I will put your name in the hat. So it's not just one entry. The more you comment, the more you share, the more you like, I will keep putting your name in the hat. And so you can, you know, it can be many entries in the next 2 weeks. So today for you, it is Monday the 27th. So from now on, for 2 weeks' time, I will remind you about this. But the more times, once you email me and you let me know that you want to be in the competition, or you would like a copy of the book, and you have liked and shared and commented, the more you do that, the more times your name will go into the hat. And the more that I notice that the channel has been shared, that there are more comments and it's been liked, the more times I will put your name in the hat. It is only one book, but it is for free and I am paying post. So we really need to ask that of you. Because we're paying post as well, we really need to get this channel out there in the world. We need to get it in the algorithms on YouTube. And yeah, put Australia where it really needs to be, and Australian authors and Australian publishing houses, and Australian country towns and Australian businesses. So that's my ask of you. If you could please do that, if you are interested in a copy of this book, we will pay post. And the more times you share it, the more times you comment, the more times you email me telling me that you've done that, the more times your name will go into the hat for a chance to win this book and the bookmark for absolutely free. It is brand new. It has never been read. It still has Abby's Bookshop price tag on the back. So that's my gift to you. But if you could, in return, help us out with the channel, that would be great. I thank you all for subscribing and watching and sharing. You have no idea, honestly, genuinely have no idea how much that really touches us. Mark and I are always excited when we see the numbers, that subscribers go up or the viewing go up, and we always enjoy your comments. We always share the comments. I'm the one who does the admin side of the channel, and I always let Mark know who has commented and why they've commented, so he is well aware of all of you, particularly those of you who comment a lot, and we love it. We absolutely love it. We almost, not quite, but we almost feel that we know you, which is lovely, and we hope you feel the same way about us. So yes, that is for free. Now, I'll go through these again. Fiona McIntosh, The Fallen Woman. Do yourself a favour, get it. It's absolutely beautiful. Mary Lou Stevens, The Jam Maker. I'll let you know when it's out. I think it's the 4th or 5th of February or something like that, but I will let you know. But also The Chocolate Factory, and the Last of the Apple Blossom was the first in this sort of Tasmanian, not series, but Tasmania, books on Tasmania, or novels on Tasmania that Mary Lou Stevens has written. I absolutely love this, and I cried at the end of this. I didn't think I would. As I was reading it, I enjoyed it, and I loved it, and I couldn't put it down. But then the more I was into it, the more I read it, it was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So, and I cried at the end. So there you go. That's that. Now, Darry Fraser's The Night on the Darling River, but also her Milliner of Bendigo. She has many more books, but these two more recent, and I love them. This one is, I think it's coming, maybe, No, this one is out this week or next week, I think. So, but again, I'll let you know in the subtitles or the description box below. And one that I never thought I would read, but I did really enjoy it, and I do recommend it. Stephen McGrath's Jimmy Sharman's Boxes. It's a lot more. Don't be taken in by the title. It is a lot more than that. It is about the boxes. It is about the boxing troupe, but you will get a lot more out of this, and it is not dry. It is because it has that beige prose, which is non-flowery, not too descriptive, and no unnecessary words. It is, in some forms, it is almost poetic. It's really informative, and I recommend it. It's great, and I'm surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did. It was really good. So well done, Stephen. Okay, everyone, that is those for now. I am boiling hot. It's getting hotter and hotter. I'm perspiring. The fan is on, thank goodness. I'm getting a little bit of wind and there's a little breeze behind me. Not too much, but there is. Okay, I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you're all well. I know in the Northern Hemisphere you've all been having terrible snow and floods. I hope you're all safe. I wish you well. We have been watching not the commercial news, but we have been watching the news from the Northern Hemisphere and the British news and some in Europe. And yeah, you've had a terrible time, and we wish you well. Those of you in America, our hearts are with you. We know what it's like fighting fires and being worried about fires and losing life and homes. It's just awful, and our hearts are with you. Absolutely, we can't do anything from here, but our thoughts are with you, absolutely. And if there is something that we can do, we would, by all means, let us know, because Mark and I are very much, you are in our thoughts, absolutely. And here in Australia and anywhere in the Southern Hemisphere, we are melting. It is hot. We've had a few fires around, but thankfully nothing as we've had in the past yet. Touch wood. Okay, wishing you all well, everyone, and until the next video, whether that be the travel or the next book recommendation. Oh, and I'm hoping we're going out this evening to see if we can film the platypus. So I'm hoping that we may have a sneaky midweeker with platypus for you, but let's see how that goes. I can't guarantee. And don't forget, enter the competition for the Crewe Train. It is merely emailing me to let me know that you want to be in it and that you have shared, liked, commented on the channel. And once I've noticed that you've done that and I've verified that you've done that, I will submit your name into the hat, and you can enter as many times as you like. Just let me know. That's that. Okay, everyone, happy reading, safe travels wherever you are, good eating. I'm actually on a little bit of a diet, but we won't talk about that. It's for my health. I've had a little bit of a problem in my throat, and I went to a specialist, and I have, unfortunately, some of the wonderful foods that I eat, including curries. I just have to go off for a little while. So my diet is very bland at the moment. It's basically raw vegetables and boiled vegetables, and no condiments at all, which is killing me, and no tea, no coffee, no alcohol. So eat on my behalf, everyone. Have all of those things for me. I'm only on this diet for about 3 months, and we're hoping that my throat will heal. So that's a little bit about me. Sorry about that, everyone. I'm oversharing. Okay. Happy reading, safe travels, good eating. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you next video. Bye for now.